Okay guys, here we are with a new deck recipe. I know I have some more Vampire Ring videos to put up for you guys, but they can wait for a little bit. Um, right, so what we have here is a new kind of deck that I saw on a different channel, Bruce's to be exact, and I'll put it right about now.
Hello there people, this is Brucey Cool or Nintembrews here, back again for another deck tryout episode on Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's Decade Duels Plus. Now this one is actually a bit different to the norm. Usually I use this deck tryout method to help other duelists out, you know, people who can't get their decks to work, and you know, I'll make a few amendments and then it works like magic. Well, maybe not so much magic, but you guys get the point. Now, this is a deck from Kyo Nomura XX, and he knows a lot about Yu-Gi-Oh! I can tell by the weird decks and the weird combos he sends me. Yeah, absolutely crazy. And this deck is just unique enough for me to show off, I reckon. It's also a bit of a thank you, mainly to Kyo Nomura for sending me so many decks, and although I haven't even got to try many, if any, at all yet, I figure for a deck try episode this will be a little thank you, and yeah, you know, hopefully I can show you guys some uniqueness. So on paper the title is random: Neospatian Dark Small Control. Who'd have thought it, eh? So at first you think
There'll be a cut there, and it'll show you the part of Bruce's channel where it shows off this deck as its original thing. But I decided to remake the deck and do it this way so we can do a chaos version. I've been told by the person that made this it was intended to be a chaos version, but because of the fact that Chaos Sorcerer is 1 and the fact that there's no BLS in this kind of makes this a little less exciting. But you know, I decided to add my own little twist to it. I mean, the whole deck is basically the same thing, except I added some new cards to it. And also I'll show off an extra deck because I kind of wish Bruce did that in his, but you know, it's all good. So anyways, start off we have 3 Armageddon Knights, which if you didn't know, when it's summoned, special summon, normal summon, flip summon, whatever, you can send a dart to the grave. Now the ones you want to really target for are the porters, because the porters don't really get their effects unless they get to the graveyard by whatever means, except for battle, I've noticed, and synchroing doesn't apparently do anything for them. I believe discarding them works too, from what I've messed around with on it. Yeah, so anything else you want to put in the grave, porter I would recommend to be your first. Then I would move on to the Panthers, and well, from there, if all those in the grave somehow, I guess you can do junk, but I don't think there will be a reason to do junk warrior. So yeah. Next we have a. Did I put that in here? Yeah, I did. Okay. I was kind of curious if I put that one thing in here. Alright, so we have a Chaos Sorcerer. I know he told me that it's only at 1. It's not really great in a Chaos, but you know, we gotta make do with what we have. So yeah, we have this, which you banish a light in the dark, and there is a total of 1, 4, 6 lights and 3, 5, 6, 9, 12 darks. So there's plenty of lights and darks to go around. And this allows you to banish stuff face up, pretty much. And it's 2,300, so you can't really get better than that. Next is Cross Porter. You're usually, from what I've played with it, you usually don't summon this, like, from your hand at least. You're usually going to bring it back with debris or junk synchron. So the main thing I care about with this when I mess around with it is the fact that when it gets to the grave, which it can't be by battle because it's a you can effect instead of like a mandatory effect. So miss timing if it was by battle. I don't remember exactly the reasoning of all that, but it does. And what else was it? I believe if you tribute it too, it doesn't work, which there's nothing to really tribute it with it in this deck. And synchro summoning makes it miss timing too, because you're still it hits the grave, but instead of activating its effect, you would still be summoning something, from what I remember. So synchro summoning wouldn't activate it either. But stuff like torrential tribute, what's it called? Mirror Force, Armageddon Knight, stuff that basically sends it to the grave. Mostly the ones that are going to activate it are the Armageddons and the Foolish Burials. So it's really good to keep that in mind. And yeah, so his effect is when he hits the grave, you can add a Neospatian, which in this deck I decided to go dark and light because of course it's chaos. So I decided you can go for a Glow Moss or Panther, or you can go Grand Mole. There is another light one in the deck or in the game, which is Pathfinder, but we're not running Neospace, so I don't really find a point to run it. So yeah. Other things we can do with this is if you do happen to summon this, you can activate its effect to send a monster you control to the grave. I'm assuming this one too. I believe this one you can send to the grave, which is really good. Bring out a Neospatian, so you can bring out like Glow Moss, you can bring out Grand Mole, or if your opponent has like a Dark Armed, I would recommend Panther. But it has to be from your hand, so yeah. But this hits the grave and then comes back, and then you can sacrifice itself. I believe it would be a grave effect by then, so I don't know. I believe it's a grave effect, because I believe it's a cost to send yourself to a grave, but I could be totally wrong. Don't take my word. Right. One Dark Armed, if you have 3 or more, no, 3 darks, you can special summon it. So you have 12 darks. It's not really that hard to get darks in the grave. And you can banish 1 to destroy something on the field. So it's pretty good. Something I kind of would play in the other deck that is on Bruce's channel or made by that one guy or whatever. But you know, it only works 50% of the time, because with decks that involve milling and whatever, it's kind of hard to get Dark Arms too. So I mean, there's spots where there's no room for it either, but in this I think there's enough room. 2 Debris. I actually like Debris in this because you can instantly go, well, let me go over his effect. You can normal summon him, or when he's normal summoned, you can special summon a 500 or less attack point monster in attack. And of course you have to synchro for a dragon if you use this tuner. But the other side is that you can't use level 4, so that's another reason I'm not using Pathfinder, even though Pathfinder really wouldn't be able to search by this. So yeah, what do I really like about this is in the main version of it, there was what I remember, there was the ability to drop a, what the heck was it? You can drop a, well, I'm pretty sure you could do it with anything else. But anyways, what I like to do is try to get Glow Moss in the grave, and I can just use Debris to get him out, and that's a level 3. And this is a, let me see something quick. I need to see, what am I doing? Alright, so let me make sure I am saying something right before I end up misleading like half the people from playing this impressive deck. Yeah, okay. I mean, right. So the problem is if the good thing is because glow moss is under 500, you can instantly go into a black rose, which you can black rose into. You can basically black rose, and this deck will help you kind of come back from that black rose and keep going. As for the other one though, it's mostly based around, from what I noticed, chain dragons, because they mostly get out the level 2s, which chain dragon is not bad. I just kind of prefer the ability to just black rose, which is really funny. Uh, I'm just saying how I play it though. And when you black rose, it just clears the field. You can set up. You can like black rose. You can activate convert contact. You can activate Monster Reborns, Pot of Avarice, or whatever you feel like. You know, it's pretty good. Which I found a little, not really even a problem. It's just like, you know, you couldn't really go Black Rose that easy in the other deck from what I noticed. Because Debris only could get level 2s, and this one, I feel like he can get more Black Rose. Or he can get Cross Porter and go in Chain Dragon, get Raika. He has more targets in this deck, I believe. But you know, I know he's also used for Samorg in the other decks, so it's really good either way. But in this deck, I just think he has more targets and he can Black Rose and take out whatever. So it's your choice, whatever one you want to do. 3 junk synchrons. He allows you to get level 2s and synchro up, which it's pretty good because you can get cross porters or Raikos and synchro up into. I play Catasters and a magical android, but you can run junk warriors because his effect allows you to get boost from weaker monsters. So I think if you run junk warriors, it would be really good with it. The reason I don't run Junk Warrior though is that I just feel like I'm not gonna have weak monsters out all the time, weaker monsters, and I believe it's only level 2s and 1s to be exact. But you never know, because Raiko could stay alive and give him a boost. But I just prefer Cataster and Android. But you guys can use Junk Warriors, whatever you can pull out. And another thing is it negates effects. Not that it really matters. We have Marshmallow, which everyone should know. You set him, and when he gets flipped face up by your opponent, basically, or they have to attack, and then you deal 1,000 damage. It'll stall out and give you a chance to get what you need until whatever. So. 3 Neospatian Dark Panthers. Just helps you I can't even speak today. Cross Porter helps you get these out really quickly, and also having a good amount of Neospatians helps out when you get convert contact, or maybe you just want to do Allure of Darkness and get rid of it. Also, another neat thing about this card is that it takes the ability of your opponent's card. Like, let's say they have a Dark Armed, so you can use it for your advantage. They summon Dark Armed and blow up stuff, and then they attack, whatever. You summon this out, you activate its effect. You have the ability of Dark Armed, and you can just blow up your opponent's card. It really doesn't matter on the part of taking a card's name in this situation, but if you're battling like an Elemental Hero deck or something, and then you want to take on the name of, like, let's say your opponent summons out Neos, which if you're playing Neospatians, it would be really good, and then you can make it into like a Dark Neos, I believe it's called, or some random stuff, or even take on the Rainbow Dragon if your opponent has one, and then his Crystal Beast run it, and then make Rainbow Neos. You know, so many random things you can do with this card, but the main focus is that you get the effect. Or you're going to banish it, or you're going to use Convert Contact, or you're going to Crush Card it. You know, many things you can do. 3 Glomas. This card is a little iffy because it's a luck-based card. I don't think it tells you that, but anyways, so one is attacked, or it attacks. This is kind of the bad thing, but it's kind of good too. When it gets attacked or you attack, your opponent draws a card. Now, depending on what it is, you get an effect. If it's a monster, which if they draw a monster will be pretty bad because it ends your battle phase, or their battle phase if it's the other way around, which is really good and kind of bad depending on which side you're on. So if you were going to attack your opponent, this is probably one of the last cards you want to attack with, but you know, just keep that in mind. And sometimes your opponents might resurrect this and attack with it, not realizing what the effect is. So it's really good. If it gets a spell, if your opponent draws a spell, I mean, if this card is attacking, you can change it to a direct. Okay, so if it's a spell, you can direct attack with this card. And if it's a spell and your opponent's attacking, it does absolutely nothing, apparently. And if they draw a trap, this card goes in defense. So there's only like one really good effect on this, and the other 2 effects are kind of bad. But I think the general thing they might draw into is spells, but I never know, because there's a lot of monster-based decks, and also traps might be a thing they draw into a lot too. So spell, it all depends on the deck. Spellcasters, I wouldn't really worry because you might get direct attacks every single time because they play so many spells. But whatever. 1 Grand Mole. At the start of the damage step, you can bounce something back and your monster before damage step. So you take no damage, and both your opponents and your monster gets bounced back. Pretty good. Really annoying to deal with too, because you have to like mirror force their dimensional prison. You really can't do too much to stop this. Did I go over this already? Yeah, I did. Okay. And double Raikou. You set it flips, and you destroy a card on the field, and you mill 3 cards on top of your deck. Good things about this card is that it does allow you to make Gear Town miss timing, because it'll target Gear Town, destroying it. Now, Gear Town would activate, but since Raikou hasn't finished its effect, you would send 3 cards, and then Gear Town would miss timing. The same thing for Black Garden. Same thing for a bunch of random other stuff. I don't know. But this makes stuff miss timing, so just remember that. And also, it's here to mill out cards, like Cross Border will get this effect if it's milled out with Raikou. You can get a Dark and a Light ready for Chaos Sorcerer. You can mill Darks for Dark Arms. You can mill Glow Moss for the ability of Junk, or not Junk, Debris. Dragon, you can mill out Cross Borders and Raikou set up for Junks. Of course, you don't control the mills, but I'm just saying what it helps out with. And you destroy a card, so it gets rid of that annoying back row that you can't deal with at times. 1 Allure of Darkness. You draw 2 and banish 1. And yeah. So if you don't have a dark by the time you draw the 2 cards, then your whole hand goes to the grave. Now, that's pretty bad if it goes to the grave, because you want to keep hand advantage with this a little bit. Sometimes you don't really need to, but there are times where hand advantage does change everything. And yeah, so on terms of banishing things, I would say banish the other Dark Panthers, maybe banish the Armageddons, and if you really need to, banish the Dark Armed, but at least keep your Chaos Sorcerers and your Cross Porters, because they are kind of like, and your junk synchrons, because they are like your main engine stuff, whatever. Uh, Comfort Contact, we have 3 of them. You send one Neos. Well, you have to control no monsters, so that's where the whole thing of doing a Debris Dragon and then Black Rosing as it comes into play. Because if you do Debris into Glow Moss, your field will be clear. And then you can activate this if you have a Neospation, which you usually will by the time you have this. And then you can send one Neospation from your hand to the grave. Well, you have to send one to the grave. I didn't know about that when I first used it. And then you send one from your deck to the grave. Then you draw 2, which makes more opportunities for Dark Arm, Chaos Sorcerer, Pot of Avarice, whatever. But you do get a draw 2, so which opens up a lot more plays. Dark Eruption, take a Dark with 1500 or less attack and add it to your hand. Armageddons are good. You can drop Neospatian Panthers. You can drop, you can add Neospatian Panthers, Junk Synchrons, Cross Porters, Dark Armed, Gas Sorcerer, Armageddon. No, I'm getting so confused now. Not Dark Armed, not Chaos Sorcerer, Armageddon, Neospatian is fine, or Panther is fine. Yeah, and Porter is fine too. Everything else that I just said is fine, or is not fine. So you have a total of 3, 5, 8, 11 cards you can add back with Dark Eruption. 2 Foolish. Usually I would think it's too much, but in this situation you can drop Porter, which Porter lets you search out more. Or you can just drop a Glow Moss and drop a Porter, which Glow Moss allows you to do your Black Rose plays and then convert Contact, or it allows you to just put a Dark and a Light for Chaos Sorcerer, whatever you feel like. One Trunade, you know what it does, return stuff to the hand, spells and traps. This destroys spells and traps. This reborns a monster. This destroys something in the back row. 2 Pot of Avarice. The deck goes quick enough that I think it's pretty decent. Reinforcement. You have a total of 6. Yeah, 6 monsters that you can bring. No, not 6. 8 monsters that you can bring to your hand. But I usually go for junks. Or I would go for the... where is he? Armageddons. And then rarely I would ever go for the Porter. And then 2 Bottomless. You can use Compulse if you feel like it, but I think Bottomless takes care of those bigger monsters. 1 Crush card. This was an anti-spell in the other deck, but in this one I decided, Crush card. 1 Mirror Force. It just protects your monsters. And as for the side extra deck, we're running 2 Catasters, which you can make a bunch of level 5s in this. 2 Black Rose, you can make Black Rose really easy. 1 Brionac, I haven't made it. You rarely make level 6s unless they're dragons, which brings us to the 2 Iron Chain Dragons. So that's good to know. Colossal Fighter, Goyo, 2 Iron Chains, 1 Magical, 1 Mistworm, 1 Red Dragon, 2 Stardust because it's Dragon, and I think you could make this somehow, and 1 Thought Roller. So yeah, other stuff that you can synchro into would be... Why is this so difficult to find these? Other stuff you can synchro into would be... Where's level? Would be this one? Right? Or what am I looking for? No, I'm looking for 5. Okay. Gosh darn it. 5. There we go. Other stuff you can synchro into with junk. would be the Junk Warriors, which is the thing that gains attack equal to all level 2 or lower monsters you control, which is why I didn't put it in there, because I don't really care about that effect too much. Let's see what else is there. You can do Wayne, which you can special summon a level 4 or lower warrior type, which would be your Armageddons, your... Well, I wouldn't do Junk Synchron, so... Yeah, I think Armageddon would be my choice. And, what else do we got? Well, Catastor, so... I mean, these are, like, good choices, too, if you really want to go for different level 5s than I did. Because you could probably make something work there, so... Yeah, so go ahead and check out this deck. I'll put in Bruce's part somewhere so you can know whose the original version of the deck this came from. And yeah, I'll put up some videos so you guys can see how the deck runs, and I will catch you guys some other time. So yeah, go ahead and leave your likes in the comment section below, and go check out Bruce's video, because I think he did a really good job explaining the deck and showing it off. I mean, I'll show off this deck too, but I think he did a pretty good job of showing it off, so yeah. Catch you guys next time.